I've been rewatching a lot of anime from my collection recently, specifically more so the ones I've seen one time and can't really remember how I felt about them. Today's episode is an anime no different, a samurai anime, Samurai Gun. Meet Ichimatsu, working for the Samurai Gun, an organization who goes by the credo. In the light or in the shadow, where evil lies, it is to be eliminated. It's obvious that his true intentions for connecting with the syndicate is to seek vengeance on the party that murdered his family. To be quite honest with you, I would seek vengeance too, if I saw my older sister raped and killed in front of me. I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of hidden gems that came out between 2000 and 2010 before anime became what it is today. This series is really dope. Ichimatsu works alongside the council to investigate and correct any immoral behavior they see going on, or anything that's a threat to the community. This entails rescues, investigations, and sometimes even assassinations. The problem for Ichimatsu is that he's against murder. Does that sound familiar to you? I'm not saying he's never taken a life in the series, but he's so adamant against it he usually aims for the legs first. More times, his partner Daimon is the one who takes out the critical enemies. Now, what would one of these anime be without an opposing crime organization to rebel against them? That's where the Shogun comes in. They are the main ones who push the Samurai Gun to Call of Duty in this series. Majority of these situations in the early half of the show have to do with some pervert taking a woman hostage, and then it evolves into more things like stopping the wrong dude from acquiring the blueprints to a deadly military weapon. And that's pretty much the skeleton of the story. If I had to pinpoint the main premise of the tale being told here, it's the Samurai Gun versus the Shogun. But most of these episodes are handled in an episodic format, which is not really a bad thing. Each episode had me wondering what Ichi and his team would take on next. If I had to call out one major disappointment I had with the series, it kinda left too many things to mystery. For one, I would have liked an entire episode dedicated to Ichimatsu and his upbringing and how he got to the council, but instead I got a couple small flashbacks of him training to join the Samurai Gun as a kid. Also, we never got a deeper look into what happened with his family, and that's fine, but there shouldn't have been any teasing the way they did with showing his sister's rape. The beginning of the series sets us up to believe Ichi will probably see some form of liberation against the ones who took his family, but instead it veers off into a show with no real direction. Now, a lot of you guys value story so much in anime that this might be a deal breaker for you. Luckily for people like me, I absorbed these shows as an overall experience, so there was more for me to gain from watching Gun. Samurai Gun sits more on the mature end of the spectrum, which is probably why I like it so much. They unapologetically curse like sailors, blood and murder is executed here without hesitation. Women get raped, and early on there are many points where characters are interacting at an escort shop. On to the visuals. The show came out in the early 2000s, so it made it to the digital revolution. But regardless of that, it's still pretty obvious they had a smaller budget for the show. The first thing that let me know that off the bat is the mere fact that majority of the show takes place at night. Combine that with many moments of weak animation and recycled character designs, you're quick to see this ain't no Ghibli work. Even with that said, it still looks pretty good for what it is. I like the designs of the Samurai Gun suits, I like the dark tone of the art, and I overall think it's a visually pleasing show, even though it's on a lower budget. The action here was above average, as we see a lot of slice and dicing combined with shooting. That's another thing I want to note. It took me till halfway through the show to really take in how good a job they did at taking two polar opposites of combat and blending them together. It wasn't like I was watching an odd combination of Rurouni Kenshin style sword fights and then awkward gun battles. It was the perfect blend. It was kinda easy to do that though, since majority of the action uses the guns as opposed to the swords. Consider this like the stealthiness of a ninja, but with excellent gunplay. The music is not really that memorable, but the opening and closing theme song is pretty dope. All in all, check this show out. If you ask me my opinion, I like Samurai Gun more than I even like Samurai Champloo. Hope you enjoyed this episode, cause here's where I wrap up. Like the video, comment down below what y'all wanna see next. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Anime Back When.